Hey, what's up, you guys? DJMama here, and let's talk about Tera Raid Partners. So, in Gen 9, uh, they repeated the team. They probably improved the team members from Gigantamax Raid Dens. And they repeated in Tera Raid Dens. So you just get random NPCs with these random Pokemon with these random movesets, and they help you out with some Tera Raids. And we're gonna rank all of them from the 5, 6, and 7-star partners. I didn't really do that many 4 and below raids. I know you can do 3 and 4-star raids mostly when you're beat the game. I didn't really do early route ones, so I have a lot more experience with 5, 6, and 7-star partners. So let's get into it, shall we? We're just rating them from S to D and real bad tiers. And they might be real bad. But first, let's say some good stuff about the one right here, Arcanine. Arcanine's very good, comes immediately with Intimidate, and will continue to intimidate the opponent once it goes down. Flamethrower, Bite, and Leer is really not ideal. I wish maybe the fire move was like, maybe Flare Blitz, honestly, because it would go well with Leer. So it's just kind of alright. I mean, Intimidate is really good. It's really good in the Tera Raid because it keeps you alive a little bit longer versus like physical attackers, Tera Raid bosses. It's just alright. He has the stats to just like do stuff. Sometimes the flamethrower could burn and it's insane. But yeah, I think it just slams flamethrower and intimidates, which is, it does a decent amount. Next up, Toxapex. Surf, Poison Jab, and Chilling Water. Merciless is not going to do anything really, unless he gets the poison, which is rare, which is not anything. I don't know why they give them the Terra type. They never Terra anyway. So, Toxapex is, I think, maybe a little bit better than Arcanine. Chilling Water actually, it does damage, it lowers the stat. It's very weak, obviously. But it does come in clutch because it does keep spamming it for some reason. Like Chilling Water, very good. It lives a pretty long time, so it's not up on respawn cooldown like some other mons. Yeah, Toxapex pretty good. Not too bad for Toxapex. Next up, Arboliva. All right, let's talk about Arboliva. Energy Ball, Safeguard, Earth Power, Grass Normal, and Seed Sower. So this seems fine. Earth Power can lower the opponent's Pdef, which can make their energy balls very strong. This thing has a lot of special attack, actually. It's insane. But sometimes, Arboliva sometimes randomly shows up to when I need a Terra Ground Pokemon, and it just sets up the grassy terrain. It's just so annoying. I'm like, I have to reset because an Arboliva is on my team, but it's not bad. Sometimes the Grassy Surge comes in very clutch. The healing is very good, and if you have it alongside another Grass Terramon, it helps you do so much more damage too. So I'm actually gonna put it in the lowest pot of A. It comes in clutch when it comes in clutch. It does a lot, but when you get it on the ground type Terra, when you need when it's versus like a electric Terra Raid boss, C. But low A, it does come in clutch. Earth Power does a lot. The grassy terrain does help. Obviously, it only does it when it's attacked. It's like a Sanaconda, but it's not bad in Tera Raids. Definitely not. Alright, next, Bellibolt. Gen 9, big, fat electric type. This mon's good. Electromorphosis is kind of cracked if you have the Tera Raid boss weak to electric. Light Screen, insane. Discharge, obviously very good because paralyzing is also very, very good. And then Mudshot, I think, does this lower accuracy, I think? I forgot. Oh, speed. It lowers the speed. So it's it lowers a lot of stats. So can lower speed, and lowers the special attacks, and then does a lot of damage if it's going to get hit. And you will get hit in Tera Raids. There is a hard chance you're getting not hit in a 5 to 6, 7-star Tera Raid. It's better than Arcanine, but is it much better than Arbo? Actually, I think it might be better than Arbo. So not too bad. Pretty decent Tera Raid partners right here. Next up is the Dunsparce. So Glare, Hyper Drill, Drill Run, and with Serene Grace. Is there a second effect to Drill Run? I don't think there is. Has increased critical hit. So it can crit a little more, and Hyper Drill, I need to remember these moves, no secondary effect. So it only gets enhanced crits with Serene Grace, but Glare very good. It's pretty tanky. It's just kind of nothing special, sadly. It's going to be below Arcanine because it doesn't have Intimidate, but Glare sometimes comes in clutch in a good amount of situations. So Glare puts it in B. Star Raptor. All the Gen 4 fans. So Brave Bird, Facade, Feather Dance, and Intimidate. So Intimidate, good buff. Brave Bird, oh no. So when I found out recoil moves were really, really bad in Tera Raids, I think it was insane. So you have to have a Rockhead because recoil moves will do a lot to a Tera Raid boss who has 35 times the HP. So Brave Bird will just take your soul if you're not ready. So I'm going to say Intimidate and Feather Dance are the only thing holding this thing back because it's usually on a respawn timer. But sometimes it's alright because it just comes in, dies, and then intimidates again. So it's like an Intimidate clock most of the time, but I'd rather have Arcanine. Sorry, because it can burn, and sometimes maybe Leer will do it. Next up, Paldea Tauros, our third Gen 9 guy. Technically, yeah, it's the revision, whatever. Intimidate, another Intimidator. They realize how good Intimidate is. I don't know why it's a Terra type of grass. Not good ever Terra anyway. Assurance, Workup, and Raging Bull. Raging Bull can break screens. Pretty good. Workup does boost its attack, and Assurance... remember what Assurance does. Its power is doubled it. The target has already taken damage, so since it's kind of slow, it will be moving kind of last, and it was like, oh, okay, cool, here's the Assurance. It does a little bit of damage. This dark type move is rough. So it kind of just hits, does things, and maybe intimidates. It's kind of like the same thing as Staraptor. It's not as... Staraptor is less tanky than Paldea and Tauros, but boosting and then doing some damage, it's alright. Just alright. Drifloon. Wow, Gen 4 again. So, Shadow Ball, Air Slash, and Will-O-Wisp with Aftermath. I'm gonna say it. This is not bad. Will-O-Wisp obviously crazy. Aftermath actually does well because your Tera Raid partners will die a lot, and Drifloon will die a lot because it just has a bunch of HP and no defenses. And then Shadow Ball, lowering this thing's speed death, kind of nice. I do like the moveset on this Drifloon. Pretty good. And then Ghost and Flying is pretty good for immunities. You know, ground, no normal, no fighting. 3 immunities off rip, not too terrible. Umbreon, Synchronized, Dark Pulse, Thunder Wave, and Psychic. I've never seen this thing fire off a Psychic. It gets Toxic, or if it gets like any status, it rebounces it back, which isn't terrible. I think it's kind of low, actually. All it does, it tanks. It does like no damage with either Dark Pulse, Psychic. It's just kind of just utility. But sometimes you need to do damage, and Umbreon is not the one to do damage with. Synchronized. It's just kind of like a synchronized mon. Sadly, it's kind of rough. It might go lower, I'll be honest with you, but I'll keep it C because sometimes the statuses do come in clutch when you have to also status a Tera Raid boss. Guard. Guard with Synchronized, Dazzling Gleam, Psyshock, and Life Dew. I'll say it right now. Guard is so good. Guard is crazy. Obviously, it's very frail on the defensive side. However, now that it clicks Life Dew, I don't know when they gave it Life Dew again. Maybe somewhere during Teal Mass DLC or Indigo Disc DLC. It started clicking Life Dew, and I'm like, oh, free healing? Thank you. I'll take it. Comes in clutch, 25% for the whole team. Guard is so good. I'm like, I see a Gardevoir on my team. I'm like, thank God. I get some extra heals. It does upset you when it wants to do damage with like Side Shock or Dazzling Gleam, but that's fine. Wish it was obviously like Moonblast or something else instead of Dazzling Gleam, but Guard's good because the heal, oh, feels so good to have. Corviknight, Pressure, you obviously want Mirror Armor in these. Iron Head, Drill Pick, and Scary Face. Ooh. It's not doing a lot of damage. Its typing is great. It's never going to die in like one hit, but it just doesn't do enough. It's a little, this one's so passive. Like Iron Head and Drill Peck, you have a decent attack stack, but it's not that high. And it won't flinch anything with Iron Head unless the Tera Raid boss is incredibly slow. I don't think Corviknight's the way, sadly. Doesn't give the team anything. Sometimes it doesn't really flinch either. Yeah, it was rough. Sylveon. Charm, Quick Attack, and Moonblast. Quick Attack's so funny. Moonblast, getting the chance to lower special attack is kind of nice. And then you have Pixelate. So you have Pixelate Quick Attack! Gotta love that. And then Charm. Charm is actually insane. It's better than these, but I don't think it's as impactful as like Thunder Wave or Glare, Will-O-Wisp, and Intimidate. That's pretty good on attach on a good mon. Yeah, I'm gonna put Sylveon there. It's pretty alright. Charm is alright, cause you know, physical attackers. But if this man is special, it won't get through with Sylveon as easy. But Charm is now useless. Heracross, Brick Break, Bulk Up, and Megahorn. I'm sorry, bro. You can live, but your typing is not good. If there's ever a flying move, a psychic move, a fire move, oh, it's a rough time for you, my friend. Yeah, Heracross just kind of shows up, can do a decent amount of damage. Brick Break is pretty utility because sometimes they do put up like screens, but that's kind of rare. It's not great. Not a great boss. Not a great addition. Okay. Garg. We have Rock Slide, Rock Tomb, and Heavy Slam, Purifying Salt, which can come up against like ghosts. I don't even remember what full Purifying Salt does. Pokemon's Pure Salt protects from static position and has the damage from ghost type moves. So no status on this thing is crazy, obviously, and but you really wish this thing had Salt Cure. I'm surprised they didn't give it Salt Cure just for the damage. I know it's probably not as good. Rock Tomb making things slower, Heavy Slam, and Rock Slide. You're not getting a flinch with Rock Slide. This thing's so slow. It does consistent damage. Is it better than these two though? Sometimes when you're not being worn down by the status effects, it does do it. Obviously, you can't poison these one, Poison Core. It might fall down, but I think it's just fine. Rock Slide do be hitting hard though. Mudsdale. Own Tempo, High Horsepower, Rock Smash, and Low Kick. So sometimes Arboliva and Mudsdale show up, and Mudsdale has the high horsepower to not get messed up by Grassy Surge. But this moveset is kind of lacking. What was that? Rock Smash to lower the defense is kind of funny. Obviously, we wish this thing was the better moveset would be like what? Stamina plus Body Press. So each time it hits, it gets a stamina boost, and then it threatens good damage with Body Press. It's alright. Last three. We go to Weavile, Leer, Ice Punch, and Night Slash. Now, the only plus Weavile really has is when Ice Punch can freeze. When Ice Punch freezes, you're a good teammate. However, your defenses are paper. He will move first. He will get in the first hit and then, die afterwards because this thing has no defense. But when the Ice Punch freezes, pretty good. I like that. Next up, Hacks. Dragon Claw, Facade, and Scary Face. You might go down here as well. It's pretty lacking. And Rivalry. Ooh, it's a rough ability sometimes because Rivalry obviously becomes competition and deals more damage to of the Pokemon with the same gender, but deals less damage to the opposite gender. So sometimes it just doesn't do enough damage. It's like, obviously that attack stat is huge, but I'm like, ooh, it's a little rough when they're the same gender, and it's just like, oh well, it sucks to suck. So Dragon Claw go down here. Is this? Muscle might be a little bit better. Nah, the rivalry boost can matter sometimes. Too passive. You don't do a whole lot other than just, I'm going to set up for me. Yeah, that's about it. Sorry about it. And the next and last but not least, of course, Clodsire. Poison Jab, Stomping Tantrum, and Toxic. Obviously, you can never miss the Toxic because it's a poison type. Poison Point also helps out with Poison Jab. It can poison a Mon for sure. Like, if your Tera Raid boss isn't Toxic, with the Clodsire up, you're just getting bad RNG. Is it better than Arb? No. Yeah, this is probably correct. So Lone and S tier, Gardevoir, because of Life Dew is so good, bro. It's so good to just keep your Mon alive because you don't have to deal with the awful timer you have to deal with. Toxapex, Belly, Arboliva, and Clodsire very good because they just kind of like either live long and do a decent amount of damage, or do a status condition, or in the Toxapex's case just lowers attack like nonstop. Kind of insane, and while staying alive. And then you have Intimidate with Burn Chance, Burn with special defense drop, and like a plus after dying, and then Glare. Glare is so good. And then you have these guys who just kind of stick around, can be decent in some situations, but we'd rather have some other Mons. And then these are the bottom because they only have like one real good trait. Obviously, when Ice Punch flinches, when Rivalry is on your side. Mudsdale, kind of big, does a decent amount of damage. Core will stick around, it won't die as often, so it'll do more hits. And then sadly, I think Heracross, even though it just boosts, it'll live, but it just doesn't do enough because sometimes their Mega Horns miss. And then breaking screens is. Anyway, that's the Tera Raid partner tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.